Hello, this is Nas Babar from NB Network Lessons. Hope you all are doing good. My today's topic is what the heck is IP packet? I'm sure you all have heard what an IP packet is, and you're talking about I'm sending so many packets from point A to point B. But what does that IP packet compromises of? What's inside the IP packet? That's what we're going to talk about. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at this bottom picture right here. So we've got Sam on the left hand side, we've got the Z on the right hand side, and they're talking to each other over the internet, right? So keep that in mind, and then I'll come back to this. So this right here table is basically demonstration or like an overview of what IP packet has or what does it compromises of, okay? So version, first thing, it can be IPv4 or IPv6. In this particular topic, I am only going to discuss IPv4. Header length is basically the length of the header. Typically it's 20 bytes right here. 20 bytes header length. Now header does not have payload, the actual, what you're trying to send, like picture or email or anything like that. So what else is in there? We've got TOS, type of service. So type of service is important. Let's say you have voice traffic. Voice traffic uses UDP real-time protocol. So what happens is that you don't want to have a delay in voice traffic. So what you do is that you mark the packet TOS field and say this is critical. So when router looks at it, it says, oh, okay, this traffic is marked with EF expedited forwarding 46. I'm gonna basically have other traffic wait, and I'm gonna send this first, because obviously you don't want any delay in voice traffic. Packet length is basically whatever the length of the packet is. The range is up to from 0 to 65,515 bytes. Identification is what identifies, these are the identifiers of the packet. Then we have something called fragmentation. Fragmentation has two bits. One is don't fragment. If you have don't fragment equal to 1, it will not fragment anymore. Whatever packets are coming in, if they exceed the MTU size, maximum transmission unit size, every router has maximum transmission unit size. In other words, that's the maximum it can send. By default, Cisco routers have 1500 bytes. So if you have a packet which exceeds 1500 bytes, it has to be fragmented. And if you put this DF equal to 1, it's going to drop the packet, silently drop the packet. And then you have something called MF, more fragmentation. More fragmentations are basically kind of like a notification saying, hey, ahead of this, more fragmented packets are ahead of this. So that's what MF is. And these are the fragment offsets. Moving on, time to live, which is also known as TTL. I touched base in my traceroute lecture. TTL in this particular case is designed to prevent loops. You don't want to have a loop in network. So every hop it gets to, it decrements it by 1. Say for example, it's sending it with 15 TTL size. It's going to decrement at every hop by 1, right? So this is designed basically just to avoid loops, because if you don't have a TTL, there is a chance that packet can get lost and you can never find it. But if you have a TTL, there is a mechanism by which you can find out, okay, I've received a time to live exceeded, so I know what's going on. So that's designed to basically prevent any sort of loops in the network. Header checksum, when you are sending packets, there is a checksum also. That checksum is validated by the receiver, in this case Z. Z's computer is going to basically validate that through the TCP stack. So basically what it is that, when you send IP packets, they are being sent like IP packet 1, IP packet 2, IP packet 3, 4, 5, and so forth. So when the receiver receives it, there is some time that IP packet 5 might go first, 3 might go after 5. So the job of the receiver TCP stack is to assemble them in a sequential manner so that it can be presented in form of a picture, which is not out of order. Source IP is really important. Source IP is the IP address of Sam. He's initiating, that's the IP assigned to his laptop. Destination IP is the IP address of Z. Sam's IP is 15.15.15.1. Z's IP is 20.20.20.1. And after that, there is payload. Payload is where you have actual traffic, for the picture. Before that, we're just basically setting up the stage. So when this packet hits the router 1 looks at it, and router 1 looks at the destination IP, which is 20.20.20.1. And then router 1 decides and says, oh, I know, what do I need to do with this? It sends it to the internet, then internet processes it, goes through different ISPs, goes through different hops, and finally gets to Z on the right hand side. Now, one thing I just want to elaborate a little bit more on IP packets. Say for example, this is a picture I want to send, right? So if I'm sending this picture, and if this picture exceeds the size of MTU, which is the maximum transmit unit by default is 1500 bytes. Okay. So if this picture is say maybe 1 megabit, right? It's a big picture. What I do is that I divide that picture into different IP packets, 3, 4, 5, 6. When it hits my router, it's going to say it's too big. I'm going to divide it, fragment it, and send them according to what my MTU size is. So it's sending basically packet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's sending 7 packets, just an example. So these 7 packets are basically sent with 1500 bytes each, and when Z's computer receives it, it basically processes them and makes sure that they're in sequential manner. So that's really all about what IP packet is. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, send me a message. If you want me to discuss other topics, send me a message. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like the contents, give me a like. Thank you so much. Bye.